It's Never Over, Jeff Buckley. This is a documentary by Amy Berg about the career of Jeff Buckley. She had previously made Little Girl Blue, Little Girl Blue, the documentary about Janis Joplin. So the film draws on interviews with Jeff Buckley's mother, Mary, as well as friends, ex-partners and musicians. So the interviews include Rebecca Moore, Joan Wasser, Ben Harper, Susan Silver, Michelle Anthony, Amy Mann, Chris Cornell. And there is a tranche of recorded voice messages and previously unseen film from the personal archive. Have a listen to that. You're a huge...
Well, yeah, I don't want to big myself up too much about that. I mean, I was a fan of the Grace album, and obviously from which the Hallelujah, his version of Hallelujah, came. And I know how he ended his life. Well, he didn't end his... the accident that... that did for him, but I haven't really followed him devotionally, I have to say.
Okay. There are people who have, obviously, and in fact, the world tends to divide into people who don't know anything about him at all and people who follow him devotionally. I'm kind of I know a little bit. So I interviewed the director on stage at the BFI. This is exec produced by Brad Pitt, who originally wanted to do a dramatic film about Buckley in which he would play the central role.
Wow.
Then Amy Berg suggested a drama, but then that mutated back into a documentary. And apparently it was Brad Pitt who, it quotes, restored the whole archive. Although when I said to Amy Berg, and what was he like? She said, I've never met him. He exec produced the thing, but it was also at a distance. So she said when I interviewed her that what she wanted to do was to tell the story through the women that Buckley loved. So it opens with his mother and two partners. She says that he was very much a feminist, which is not something that she knew originally, but during the research she discovered this. And she says that it's very important that he was in the 90s, which was a very misogynistic period of music history. But you've got this tranche of voicemails that make it feel really, really intimate, voicemail messages. So in some ways, it's about his relationship with his mother, and the voicemails kind of really lead you into that. Because there isn't that much archive of him outside of this archive, which has kind of been, got together by Brad Pitt, which he managed to get, access to. She also uses animation. Now, the animator is Sarah Gudensdottir, who she'd worked with before, and they use illustrations to kind of bring the story to life, to illustrate doodles, to kind of get inside the head of the subject. And it's an interesting thing because I had never really thought about Jeff Buckley's voice in this way before, but people talk about the way Jeff Buckley sung, and they compare it to Nina Simone, Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan, which is a really interesting comparison. There's also a touch of the kind of, the fragility of Daniel Johnston in there. But the key thing is that Alanis Morissette said that there was no gender in his voice. And that is an interest. I hadn't really thought about that, but it is interesting that his voice is very ungendered. Amy Mann, who I'm a big fan of, played bass with her once very, very briefly, says that he was the best singer she ever heard. The other thing I didn't know, did you know he was a massive Led Zeppelin fan?
No, I did not.
Absolutely loved Led Zeppelin and hugely inspired by Led Zeppelin. So as somebody who was kind of outside of the circle of trust of the people who were like really, really into Jeff Buckley, I thought the documentary was really well done. It told the story in a way that, led me through stuff that I didn't know anything about. I'm sure that all Jeff Buckley fans know about the Led Zeppelin thing, but I didn't know that. But also it is the voicemails lend a real intimacy to it, and the archive stuff is great because you kind of feel like you are getting a first-hand experience. But it's well put together because it's telling the story. What it's not doing is just telling the story of a tragedy. It's not just doing that, and then died tragically young. It's achieved all this stuff and struggled with all this stuff during this period. I think anybody who sees it will want to go out and immediately listen to the records, which is what I did.
Is there a lot of stuff that you've never seen before?
Oh, it was stuff that I've never seen before, certainly. And there is also stuff in there that fans will not have seen before.
Okay. It's Never Over, Jeff Buckley is widely available, would you say?
It's yes. I mean,
Hunted out?
it's yes, because Universal are putting it out, so it's a wide release documentary, yeah.